What's up, guys? It's Lord Both here for another video, and it's only been out about maybe 3 weeks, and Fantastic Four: First Steps is already dead at the box office. First, we have the raw data here from Box Office Mojo. Domestic of 208 million so far, 170 million international, for a worldwide of $378 million for Fantastic Four. And you might remember this thing has an initial budget of $200 million, and that's coming from Disney, so we know it's a massive lie. It's probably 50 million, if not more than that, especially with all the reshoots that went into this movie, all the editing that went into this movie, because everybody who I've seen review it has stated that it definitely feels like the movie had a lot of stuff that was cut out of it to make for a significantly different film than what was originally shot. Keep in mind, Superman released about 2 weeks before Fantastic Four, and they are standing at 320 million domestic, 239 million international, for a total of $559 million. So about $200 million or so more than Fantastic Four for those 2 weeks. And Superman lost its #1 spot at the box office to Fantastic Four, yes, but that kind of makes sense, right? One big blockbuster superhero movie knocking off another big blockbuster superhero movie. The unfortunate part for Fantastic Four is that only a little more than a couple weeks out, it already looks like it's going to be knocked off by movies that are far from summer blockbusters, I would say. This comes to us from Screen Rant, entitled "2 New Releases Threaten to Bump Fantastic Four to #3 at the Box Office." The article states, although Fantastic Four hit #1 during its first 2 weekends, it faces competition from a pair of new releases. The first is Disney's legacy sequel, Freakier Friday, which reunites original 2003 stars Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. The second is the Julia Garner horror movie, Weapons, which is director Zach Cregger's follow-up to his 2022 hit Barbarian. That's right, everybody. Fantastic Four: First Steps might get knocked off to #3 in its 3rd weekend by a horror movie starring Julia Garner, who plays female Silver Surfer in the movie, and Josh Brolin's character in that movie was almost originally played by Pedro Pascal, who had to back out because of scheduling conflicts because he's literally in everything. And Freakier Friday, which is a over 20-year-old sequel to a preteen movie about a mom and a daughter switching bodies because of magic or whatever. These are not the kind of movies that should be knocking a blockbuster superhero film from its top spot in the box office. In fact, every number you look up for this movie, it seems to be bad. This from Variety: Fantastic Four: First Steps grossed 11.7 million domestically in its second Friday on the big screen, making for a devastating 80% drop from its debut. That means the first Friday this movie was out, when you compare that to what it made its second Friday, that is 80% less than what they made their first Friday. What does that mean weekly? Well, it gets even worse, because Variety reports that after a healthy $117 million debut, I don't know if you'd call that healthy for what should be a massive superhero movie introducing the Fantastic Four, the first family of Marvel, to the MCU. But hey, whatever you want to say. But they state here the Fantastic Four suffered a 66% drop in its sophomore outing with $40 million. That is a massive red flag about this movie and the health of its box office. This thing's gonna need to do about $800 million or so, maybe more than that, depending on how much Disney decided to lie about the money they spent on it, to make its money back. And it doesn't look like it's going to get anywhere close to that. We are looking at a Captain Black Falcon Brave New America level of failure here. That's how bad of a flop this thing looks like it's going to be. That would also mean 3 movies, 3 flops for Marvel this year. Brave New World was a flop. Thunderbolts, although I really liked it, was a flop. and Fantastic Four looks like it's going to be a massive flop. Even the legacy media seems to understand this at this point, with publications like The Wrap putting out articles like this, entitled Fantastic Four Box Office Dive is a Bad Omen for Marvel's Future. Or this one from Polygon, Fantastic Four's big box office drop reveals a critical Marvel problem. That's right, at this point pretty much everybody knows that Fantastic Four First Steps, no matter how much marketing they put into it, how much re-editing they did, how much they tried to sell this film to the old Marvel audience of mostly normies, people are simply just checked out. They don't care about the movie and aren't showing up for it. Even Marvel themselves seems to understand this, as their marketing is pivoting hard. Because despite the fact that Fantastic Four just released in theaters, social media is experiencing a heavy bombardment of Spider-Man Brand New Day promotional things. Whether it's stills like this to videos, we have a ton of behind the scene videos that are leaking of Spider-Man coming out fighting on this what looks to be tank thing. We got more still photographs. We got more videos here of him on that tank and all these different shots that are coming about. They are really hammering the promotion for Spider-Man Brand New Day, which all this promotional material has confirmed two things to me. One, Spider-Man Brand New Day actually looks fairly good, at least from aesthetics. The new, more traditional Spider-Man suit actually looks really good. And I would not be surprised that this is one of the last really big Marvel movies that is produced and does well at the box office. Secondly, it confirms that Disney's accepting the fact that nobody cares about Fantastic Four and it's doing terrible at the box office and they need to pivot to the next big thing. Because one thing Disney has always realized and always kept up on is that it's okay to have massive failures. Even multiple massive failures in the same year, apparently. But it's not okay to have massive failures and also be culturally irrelevant. And that seems like what Marvel and the MCU is on the verge of, and has been for a while now, becoming culturally irrelevant. The same way Star Wars has become culturally irrelevant. And the last thing Disney want is its two major franchises that appeals to not just kids but also adults to end up becoming stale and irrelevant, which for a lot of hardcore fans of these IPs has been that way for some time, but now even the normies are catching up to the point where they just don't care anymore. And that is reflecting in the box office significantly at this point. But those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go and leave in the comments. If you liked this video, go and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, appreciate you watching all of it, and we'll talk to you again later.